I want to talk for a few minutes about Chanukah. It's very unique. There's a very unique aspect in the mitzvah of lighting Chanukah candle. It's the only, the Mepharshim say, it's the only mitzvah that there is to do that you have to say something. Let's see. We know that we're going to make the first night of Chanukah. We're going to make 3 brachas. Right? The first bracha is Asher Kedushan V'Soyis V'Tzivan V'Hadlik Neshach Chanukah. And then we're going to make a Sha'asa Nisim Abayseinu B'Yamim Hahem Azman Hazeh that Hashem did in this. And the third bracha, which we're going to make on the first night, is a Shachianu. Afterwards, we're going to say something called, most of us sing it. We sing Hanei Yisrael. If I was Rabbi Kalish now, we'd all get into a choir now singing Hanei Yisrael, right?
We're on video again.
Okay, so we got to be careful. Okay, Haneres Alolo, Anachnu Madlikin. We're going to say this little piece. Haneres Alolo, Anachnu Madlikin. Let's just explain it. These are the candles that we are lighting, Al Anisim, Al Niflois, on the tremendous miracles and wonders that Hashem did for us, Al Shuris, Al Chomis, and He helped us overcome the Mechama. Shasisa Labaisenu, B'Yamim Hahem, Azman Hazeh, that He did for our forefathers. Al Yidei Koyanecha Kedoshim, you'll see it's golden. We'll talk about that in a second. The mitzvah of Chanukah came about through the Kehanim, the Chashmonoim. They were the ones that brought about the miracle of Chanukah. All 8 nights these candles are holy. You're not allowed to use these candles. You're not allowed to use them to read. There's a kodesh. It's also to be mishtamish. It's also to use the candles. That means if you want to read, you can't read next to the light to look at it. You're not allowed to use it. Okay, why do we do this? To thank, to thank and to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, His great name, for the miracles, for the wonders, and for the salvation that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for us, and that's why we're lighting the Hanukkah candles. So, what's unique about this mitzvah? The mitzvah is to do what? To light the candle, but yet we say this paragraph, Haneres Halolu. As we're lighting it, we say why we're lighting it. We don't do this by any other mitzvah. When you take a lulav or an esrog and you take it, what do you do with it? You shake it. We don't say, oh, we're taking the lulav and esrog because this happened. We never do that. When we put on tefillin, we make a bracha on the tefillin and we put it on. We don't say, oh, we're putting on tefillin because this and this. Right? There's no other mitzvah. There is one exception, I think. I'm not sure, but there's no other exception of a mitzvah that while I'm doing it, I'm making the bracha, and the mitzvah is to do it, I have to say why I'm doing it. We eat matzah Pesach night. We don't say why we're eating matzah Pesach night. We eat the matzah Pesach night. So that's the question that I would like to address. What's special about this mitzvah that we have to express why we're doing it?
You're not yotze without it?
Oh, so that's a good question. That's a very good question. If you're yotze without it, obviously you are yotze the mitzvah, but I'll tell you the question the other way. Why isn't it a hefsek? Why isn't it a hefsek? Usually you make a bracha and you have to do the mitzvah right away. If I put on tefillin, I make a bracha to put on tefillin and I talk before I put tefillin, I don't know what to do.
You have to start off.
I have to start off to make a bracha again. Again, this is not a hefsek.
You say this before you start lighting the candles?
You say, yeah, you say.
I know it's like after the first, until like the
I
second
know some
light.
people wait, some people say,
You
but
wait till like the second light.
but a lot of people don't.
Right, okay.
You're supposed to say the bracha.
You say the two, you say the bracha.
You say the first 2 brachas and then you say Haneres Halolu.
Then while you're lighting
It's
the candles, you say
definitely
Haneres Halolu.
a part of the mitzvah. Part of the mitzvah is you have to say Haneres Halolu. It could be you're not. You will be yotze anyway. Could you be yotze the lighting candles if you don't make it?
Part of the mitzvah.
Bracha is not a ma'akev either. But the way the Chachamim set up this mitzvah is I make a bracha and I say why I'm doing the mitzvah. That's unique to this mitzvah. Another thing I just want to point out, it says that this nes came about al yidei koyanecha hakedoshim, through the kehanim, the holy kehanim. What's the difference? Who was the cause of the nes? Why is it important to mention that it was the kehanim that did the nes? And if it was somebody else that did it, it seems to be that there's a specific, the chachamim are saying a special thing, that it was specifically the kehanim that did this nes. And that's another thing I'd like to address. Yes?
I think because they were one of those special people that we have.
That we know. The question is, why is it specifically with Chanukah?
specifically the Chanukah, the Kohanim were the essence.
So very good. So let's go to the source.
Because of the menorah.
Very good. What is the source of the mitzvah of Chanukah? Not the source of the mitzvah of Chanukah, I'm sorry. What's the source of lighting a menorah? Let's go back to the original lighting of the menorah. When was the original lighting of the menorah? When was by the Mishkan. What happened at that Mishkan? What happened at that time? When did the lighting take place? We spoke about this
Was
last
it
year.
after Matan Torah?
What?
Was it after Matan Torah?
It was after Matan Torah. There was a
You say
specific
like
thing that happened. The pasuk says, let's look at the pasuk, number 3.
Oh, I think I know you're talking.
Let's get to it. Number 3. Parshas Baloischa, Periches Bajolasa, Vaydav Hashem al Moshe Lema, Gave el Aaron, speak to Aaron, V'amarta Elov, Baloischa Saneris Amu Pnei HaMenorah Yirashir Saneris. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe to tell Aaron that he should light the menorah in the Mishkan. Okay, look at Rashi. I bring the Rashi, Baloischa, Lama Nisbachal Parshas HaMenorah L'Parshas Nesiyim. The parsha before this lighting of the menorah was the parsha of the Nesiyim. What was the parsha of the Nesiyim? The princess. All the princess in Klal Yisrael, the Nasi of every Shevet. What happened? When the Mishkan was built, when the Mishkan was completed, there was a 12-day ceremony. There was a dedication ceremony. And every day, a different one of the Nesiyim, a different one of the princes of Klal Yisrael, Reuven, Shimon, Levi, every Shevet, brought a carbon for this dedication ceremony, this magnificent for this Mishkan. And each day, a different Nasi brought a carbon. And those were called the Nesiyim, the Chanukah Sabayis took place, and it was interesting, every single Nasi brought the exact same carbon. It was precisely and exactly the same carbon, but each one brought their own. So they had 11 days, and then all of a sudden, Aaron turned around, and also each Nasi brought a specific thing for the Mishkan. Everybody brought what they had to bring for the Mishkan. Aaron HaKohen, who was the Nasi of Shevet Levi, he was the Kohen, and he was in charge of Shevet Levi, he did not bring anything for this dedication ceremony. Why? Because Aaron said, you know what? Let's see what's going to happen. Klal Yisrael is going to start bringing all the things. Probably they're not going to have enough. And probably they're going to be missing things. So Aaron stood back, and he waited, and he wanted to see what Klal Yisrael was going to bring. What happened? Klal Yisrael was wonderful people. Jews are wonderful, giving, philanthropic people. They're people they like to give. They have a heart. So then you see everything that they needed for the Mishkan was totally dedicated before him. So Aaron had said, hey, I missed out. I missed an opportunity. He felt bad. He felt bad that him and his Shevet did not have a part of the dedication of the Mishkan. They didn't have to, they figured they'll be smart. They'll wait and see what's missing. Whatever's missing, the rich guy who says, call me when, what you need at the end, but there was nothing at the end. Somebody once went to Reichman, the rich Jew Reichman, and said, could you do me a favor, could you lend me money? I want to buy a house. So Mr. Reichman says, when are you going to pay me back? Whenever you need it. Whenever you need
And
it.
he did it?
What?
He did it?
Nice.
That's a special
Okay,
person.
so Aaron thought he'd be a wonderful person. He's going to wait till everything else is done, and whatever's missing, I'll take care of it. The only problem is he didn't realize that Klal Yisrael is great people. They're wonderful people. They gave from their heart, so they took care of everything. He was left with nothing. So the Rashi tells us what happened. Lefika Shira Aaron Chanukah and Nesiyim. When Aaron saw that the Chanukah and Nesiyim, that the dedication of the Nesiyim was complete, Chol Sha'is Daito. He felt terrible. He felt bad. Not him and his not Shevet took place and took part in this magnificent dedication. Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem says to Aaron, Aaron, Chayecha, don't feel good. Calm down. Don't worry, Aaron. Chayecha, Shalcha Gadol Mishlehem. What you're going to do for the Chanukah, what you're going to do, Shalcha Gadol Mishlehem. Yours is going to be better than theirs.
We can't remember that it was Bashar for him to wait. So
Right.
because he got the best
Well,
job.
what was the job that he got to do?
He got to do the Holy Karbonos.
No, that's not what Rashi says. Let's see what Rashi says. Let's see what Rashi says. Shalcha Gadol Mishlehem, Sha'ata Madlik Umeitiv Esaneres. Because you are the one that's going to light the menorah. Right? You're the one that's going to light the
Even
menorah.
better.
What?
Even better.
So, if you would say the problem, now there's only one problem with this, all right? So, right, Aaron feels bad, he didn't have, Hashem says, don't worry. Aaron, what you're going to do is more precious to me than what all the Nesiyim did. What are you going to do? You're going to light the menorah. There's only one problem. There's one avodah in the Beis Hamikdash that can be done without a carbon, without a kohen. There's two. One is shechita, you could shech a carbon, you could slaughter, it doesn't need a kohen. But everything else, the kabbalas of the dam, the sprinkling of the dam, the ketores, everything needs a kohen except for one other thing. Menorah. The Rambam paskins that menorah is kosher b'zor. You, are you a kohen? You're not a kohen. Anybody in this room, even if you're not a kohen, you can go and light the menorah. So it's like you say to somebody, I have something special for you. This is really precious to me. I really enjoy it. You're going to do it. You and everybody else. Does that make it special?
Yes, so that's the essence of everyone.
So what is he saying to Aaron? He's telling Aaron, yours is so precious to me, it's better than anything else, because you're going to light the menorah. Big deal. I can light the menorah. You can light the menorah. You can light the menorah. Everybody can light the menorah. So why is that an appeasement? Why was Aaron appeased by the fact that he could light the menorah? Anybody could do it.
It was the best menorah in the world.
Oh, close. Says the Chazon Ish,
And
yes.
it's him over everybody else. Hashem's choosing him. So
Hashem is choosing him. He's telling he's the best.
even more, you should feel good because anybody in the world could do it, and still he's the one doing it.
Yeah, but then it's not so precious. If anybody could do it,
No.
do it, still not as precious.
Maybe what he's saying is that maybe Hashem was saying that even though everyone could do it,
I
theoretically,
still want
it's
to do
yours.
it.
It's yours.
I still want to hear what.
I hear that.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Still want to hear the actual answer.
I'll tell you what the Chazon Ish says. The Chazon Ish says very nicely. The Chazon Ish says, you're right. Every person could go into the Beis Hamikdash and light the menorah. There's a problem, by the way. You can't get into the Beis Hamikdash because a Jew's not allowed to go into the Beis Hamikdash. So what do? So the Rambam says he could take a long stick and he could stand outside and he could light it because he's not a kohen. But technically he could do it. Says the Chazon Ish, that's true. Anybody can light the menorah, but not the first time. The first lighting of the menorah, the first time it was lit, and this, what is the significance of lighting it the first time? This was the proclamation that Hashem bestowed His Shekhinah onto the Mishkan. With the lighting of the menorah, this was complete. The Mishkan was not complete. God had a home. He rested His Shekhinah in the Mishkan. With that lighting of the menorah, that brought the Shekhinah down. Says the Chazon Ish, nobody else was able to do that except for Aaron HaKohen. Only Aaron was the one that was able to do it the first time. After that, you're right, because after that it's just relighting the same menorah. But to bring Kedusha down, to bring the Shekhinah to come down to this world, that only Aaron HaKohen was doing. That was the appeasement. Aaron, Shelcha Gadol Mishalahem, yours is greater than theirs. Sha'ata Madlik Umeitav Esaneris. And if you listen to the Lashon, what does the word say? Sha'ata Madlik Umeitiv. What does the word Meitiv mean? What?
Clean.
Clean. You clean. You're going to set up. It should be Meitiv Umadlik. Right? First you set up the menorah and then you light it. And every day there's such a thing. Every day there's one kohen that does the meitiv, he sets up the menorah, and one kohen that lights it. It's two different avodas. There's setting up the menorah, but the shata madlik or meitiv is the first thing is you're going to light. The first lighting, that first candle is going to be you. That's why it's so special. That's the way the Chazon Ish learns. The Ramban says something fascinating. The Ramban says, you know what Hashem told Aaron? Aaron, Shalcha Gadol Mishalahem, that yours is special. You know why, Aaron? You know why you're special to me? Because you are going to have grandchildren by the name of the Chashmonaim. And when the Beis Hamikdash was going to be defiled in the time of the second Beis Hamikdash, there's going to be a nest called Chanukah. And that's going to be done. Who's going to light those menorahs? The Kahanim. Which Kahanim? The Chashmonaim, who are grandchildren of who? Aaron. Okay. So Aaron, don't feel bad. Because you're going to have grandchildren that are going to light the menorah.
Great-grandchildren.
Great-grandchildren, whatever it was. And Aaron was supposed to feel good about that. Could you explain that to me? Aaron is standing here by the Chanukah Sabayis, by the dedication ceremony. He feels bad he's not part of it. And Hashem says, don't worry about it, your grandchildren will be part of it. What happened to me?
I was in Aaron's place, I would have been the happiest person.
I'm a humble person.
What?
Aaron's not going to say what happened to me. He's
I
a
understand,
humble
but what is
person.
he going to feel like? I'm asking you, I feel bad I didn't do anything. And now you tell me, oh, don't worry, your grandchildren will do?
Honestly,
Why is that? He's lighting the first night, so that's him, and then he has a legacy. Come on.
Oh, a legacy.
I feel like
That's what he says, a legacy. Could you imagine what a person feels like when he realizes that my actions, what I'm going to do, and the way I act, Hashem chose me to light the menorah, correct? And Hashem's telling me that I'm going to be zeicher to have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that are going to do the same thing as me. They're going to be able to do that as well. They're going to be able to bring Kedusha down to this world. They're going to be able to bring the Shekhinah like I did on the first time I lived, when they're gonna have to, after the Beis Hamikdash was defiled, and they'll have to bring Kedusha back, who's gonna do it? My children, my grandchildren. So that is a very, Aaron is thrilled on the fact that he'll have children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that are gonna follow in his way and be able to do exactly what he did. Make sense? That's a great feeling, right? You tell that to a grandfather, Mitzvah Hashem, tomorrow morning is a bris of my grandson. Thank you. And if I know, if somebody could tell me that my grandchild, he shouldn't be like me. He should be 100 times better than me, but at least he should be like me, right? I would be the happiest person in the world, right? He should be 100 times better than me. Mitzvah Hashem, he will be. But every parent wants to know that what they're doing, if they're stealing their kids, will continue and go on. But what was special about Aaron HaKohen, that what he did now, he was zoicha that his children and grandchildren will be able to do it in the future? Who has that guarantee? Nobody has that guarantee.
God opens that.
What?
God sets
Oh, well, why? What was his characteristic? What was his the way that he lived his life that Hashem told him, "Don't worry, you're going to have these children." It wasn't just a gift. He's not giving him a gift. He's telling him this is a reality. I'll point this out to you. I mentioned this last year. I asked this question. I had this question for 30 years, and I still have not found a good teretz. The question is like this. You got to listen for a minute. It's a little bit complicated. Not a little complicated, but listen. Jews went to the Midbar, correct? They were in the desert for 40 years. They had 3 miracles that happened to them every single day. They had the mun. The mun came down from, the bread came down from Shemayim, right? They had the food. They had the be'er, they had the well. They had the water. And the third thing is that they had a nanei hakavod. They had the cloud that surrounded them, correct? These were 3 miracles that happened to them every day. The Gemara says that why did they have the mun? Whose schus was the mun? Moshe, exactly. The schus Moshe, the mun came down. Why did we have the be'er? Miriam. The be'er Miriam. It's the schus of Miriam, Moshe's sister.
That's pretty obvious.
Okay, and why do we have the nanei hakavod? Aaron, correct? Out of those 3 mitzvahs, out of those 3 things that happened, which do we have a commemorance of? And not only the nanei hakavod. What's the mitzvah that we commemorate the nanei hakavod? The sukkah. We eat the sukkah for 7 days to commemorate the nanei hakavod that Hashem. What happened to the be'er? What happened to the mun?
The mun is the challah.
It's not as
No, the mun, the challah is way back. The mun was we covered. We had extra mun, so we have lechem
So
mishnah.
what are you
I
gonna
don't
do?
think it's as necessarily.
I don't know. Why don't we have a mitzvah to commemorate?
What's gonna be the
I don't
next
think
one?
it's as
We
relevant.
we should eat something, commemorate the mun. We should drink water
I
sometime.
don't think
So
it's as
next
relevant
time
as the
you eat
non-uncovered.
a piece of the cookie, just
Well,
say.
if you don't have food and drink, you're done.
I know, but I'm saying those certain those things that are supposed to most prioritized. I feel out of all of them was the non-uncovered.
Just to commemorate it.
Remember that.
I would say water and food is pretty bad.
I think so too, but
Why,
I'm not.
why should
So this is a question that I have for 30 years. Why is it that only that which came in the schus of Aaron HaKohen we have a commemorance of, and that's which came in for Moshe and Miriam we don't commemorate. We don't have anything to commemorate.
Where the mitzvahs came from with Moshe.
Okay, is that a good question? Just tell me first. Is it a legitimate question?
Yeah.
Is it just question? It's a good question.
Maybe because Moshe and Miriam both did Averis, they're both
Aaron
punished
didn't.
for both.
Wait, was Aaron?
Aaron did too. The eagle was partially Aaron's fault. Yeah, the answer was that Aaron came to bring peace in. Who's the most important person? Is someone who brings peace.
That's one answer. That's one thing. There are 2 things that it says about Aaron HaKohen.
Was this
There-
answer the next one?
1 second. There are 2 characteristics that we know about Aaron HaKohen. Number 1 is the Mishnah Pirkei Avos that Nick just said, that Oyev Shel Havitamida Shel Aaron HaKohen, a person should be a Talmud of Aaron HaKohen that is Oyev Shalom v'Roidev Shalom. He was a person that went about peace, to bring peace in the world. But there's another Chazal, there's another Gemara that says a beautiful characteristic of Aaron HaKohen. Rashi brings it. Look at number 5. The next pasuk after Hashem tells Moshe tells Aaron to light the menorah, it's pasuk Gimel. Aleph Beis Gimel. You see number 5. Vayas Kain Aaron. Aaron went and lit the menorah. El Mul Pnei HaMenorah, Mul Pnei HaMenorah, Helul Ner Yisrael. He lit the candles. Kashetziv Hashem es Moshe. Says Rashi. Look at the Rashi number 6. Rashi says Vayas Kain Aaron. What are you telling me? You telling me that Aaron listened to Hashem's words? If Hashem tells you to do something, you're going to do it. What do you? I need a special thing to tell me. Vayas Kain Aaron, then Aaron did it. Says Rashi. No. I'm not telling you that. Of course, we know Aaron's going to do it. But how did Aaron do it? Lahagid Shvachai shel Aaron, to teach us the characteristic of Aaron, Shaloi Shinoi. He didn't deviate. He did exactly and precisely what the Rabbi Shalom told him to do. He didn't change, or just don't give it out yet. Let me just finish. I'm almost finished. Wait. Just put it on the side.
No, we're not done.
Okay? Aaron. Oh, that's what you couldn't do, Nachum. That was good.
Thank you, Giddy.
Don't worry, I couldn't do it either. Vayas came Aaron. And Aaron did precisely and exactly what he was supposed to do. This is a characteristic of Aaron HaKohen, that he does exactly what the Rabbi Shalom tells him to do. He doesn't deviate even the slightest bit. He doesn't change, he doesn't deviate even the slightest bit of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him to do. He doesn't do it, a little bit less, a little bit more. He does it, He does precisely and exactly what Hashem does. Now, just like Hashem is nitzchias, Hashem is eternal. Everything that God does is forever. Correct? That everything that God does is forever and permanent and eternal for eternity. So too, if the Torah tells us, if Rashi tells us, Chazal tells us, Vayas Kein Aaron Shaloi Shino, he does exactly what Hashem says. So everything that he's going to do is what? Because he does exactly and precisely what Hashem says. If somebody does the precise and exact thing that the Rabbi Shalom requires him to do, it's going to last forever, just like Hashem. Divrei Elokim. You're doing the Divrei Hashem, you're doing exactly what Hashem tells you to do, so it's forever. And that's why everything that we have from Aaron HaKohen, everything and anything that we have from Aaron HaKohen, lasted for days, lasted for generations, still today. So the Anani Kavod was because of Aaron. We have the mitzvah of the Anani Kavod, mitzvah of Sukkah. We have the mitzvah, Aaron HaKohen did the mitzvah of Birchas Kohanim. Right? We still have Birchas Kohanim today. We still do Birchas Kohanim. Because it came from Aaron HaKohen. It was Aaron's mitzvah, Aaron did it, and we do it today. Aaron HaKohen lit the menorah. Correct? How did he do it?
Exactly the way Hashem.
Exactly the way Hashem. And therefore, says the Ramban, his children are going to be the one to do it. Why? Because what he did it on such a level, he did it with the exact and precise way the Rebbe Shalom told him to. Shalei Shina, he didn't deviate even the slightest bit. He did precisely exactly what the Rebbe Shalom wanted. It's going to last forever. That was the peace. That was the appeasement to Aaron HaKohen. Said to him, Shalcha Gadol Mishalahem. Yours is greater because your children, what you did is going to last forever. Your children are going to do it. Not only your children, but Klal Yisrael, till today, each and every one of us are going to light a menorah in our house. Why? Because Aaron HaKohen did it. And how did he do it? He did it precisely and exactly the way the Rebbeinu Shalom told him to do it. And that's why it lasted till today. So we have the mitzvah of Chanukah also lasting forever because of Aaron HaKohen. And that's what's unique about the mitzvah of Chanukah, because what happened in Chanukah? The Chashmonaim got up and said, Mi L'Hashem Elai. Who's to me? Who's going to be on Hashem's team? Who's going to be part of the Rebbeinu Shalom's team? So those that were able to answer, those that did not do Avodah Zarah, did not do Averis, did not have different thoughts in their mind, they came along, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu made them win the war. There was a few people. Rabbi Ma'at Ma'atim, a few
The most
people.
iconic line in our history.
Right, exactly. And yet, they were able to, why? Because they said, we're going to go with Hashem. We're going to do precisely and exactly what the Rebbeinu Shalom said. And precisely and exactly what the Rebbeinu Shalom says, it's going to last forever. And that's why this thing that we say, this paric, this pious that we say, Ayidei Kohenecha Kedoshim. We specifically mention the Kohanim, because it's the Kohanim. We try to mimic the Kohanim. It's the Kohanim that are the ones that do precisely and exactly the way the Rebbeinu Shalom wants us to do it. And that way it lasts, will be nitzchis forever, the way Chanukah was started by Aaron HaKohen. Why do we say it? Why do we have to say it? What's the matter with just doing it? There is no greater expression of my inside than if I talk. There's no way for you to know what I really feel unless I express it through people. There's no way I can go through all the motions. I can give you money, I can learn Torah, I can decide to want to give tzedakah, give $1 million for tzedakah. You don't know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I want my name plastered all over my top of the building. I can learn Torah. I'm learning Torah. You know why I'm learning Torah? You're learning Torah because you're a tzaddik and you want to do Hashem's thing. I'm learning Torah because I want everyone to think I'm a great Talmid Chacham. I want covet. You don't know the reason. why I'm doing it. Specifically on this mitzvah, at this time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Chachamim wanted us to say, why are we doing it? Why? What's on our insides? What we're proclaiming by Chanukah night, when we light candles, we are proclaiming we want to do the Ratzon of Hashem. We want to do what Hashem wants from us. And the best way, not the best way, but the greatest expression of our deep inside feeling is dibur, is saying it. When God created man, like the pasuk says, pasuk was number 7. Vayitz Hashem lekinas afa ben adama vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu took a blob of ground of earth, and He created man. But then He separated man from animal. How did He separate man from animal? What is the one characteristic that separates us from animal?
The Rabbi on the keyboard.
According to the Targum.
Debug.
When it says in the pasuk vayipach ba'apav nishmas chayim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu blew into him a nishmas and a neshama. What does the Targum say? Ruach Memala. He became a talking person. He became a talking breed. Speech defines what we are inside. Expression through the mouth is what's from the inside, from what really is going on. So in a moment, in a mitzvah, when it's important for us to show the Rabbi Shalom, Mila Hashem Elai, it's not just let's just light candles. Let's just do the action. Let's just do the action. But let's show it. Let's sell the Rabbi Shalom. What we're doing because of you, because it's what Aaron claimed the way we did. And this expression, and it's interesting that the mitzvah of Chanukah is the expression of the difference between the Goyim and the Yidden. And if we want to express the way a Jew has to act, the way a Jew has to serve Hashem, we say out the words. Rabbi Shalom, we're doing this for you. We're doing this mitzvah because, and it's one more thing I want to say that's fascinating, interesting by this. This is the only mitzvah that, this mahadrin and a mahadrin. The mitzvah is really we should only light one candle. That's the mitzvah. If you light one candle every night, Chanukah, you yitz the mitzvah. If you want to do more than that, so you light one candle for every night you add one. Or each person in your house. The mahadrin min mahadrin, if you want to be, the Gemara says, you want to be better and better, you want to do really what Hashem wants, you should light one night, first night you light one, the second night you light 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And every person in the house should do the same thing. That's the highest level. Do you know any Jew in this world today that doesn't light the menorah like that? Every Jew, for some reason, this is the one mitzvah. Like Chol Yisrael, some people do Chol Yisrael, some people don't do Chol Yisrael, some people have blue in the tzitzit, some people don't have blue in the tzitzit, some people have payas, some people don't have payas, some people have beards. Everybody has their level of frumkeit. For some reason, the Ness of Chanukah, everybody chose to go which way? We're going to go that extra step. Why? That's what sets us apart. That's what sets us apart. That's what sets Aaron apart. And when we do it like that, and we do precisely and exactly, it's nitzchias and lasts forever. So we should all be zeicha that the mitzvahs that we do from Chanukah, we should sit there and say to Rebbeinu Shalom, I am on your team. Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm on your team. And I want to be part of you. And I want to be a chair with you because I want that nitzchias, I want the brachas, I want the yeshuas, and I want all the wonderful things that come out. Now, Nachum, you give up the food. Thank you very much.
Someone wanted to hear